What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 19 of the Hoop Venue podcast. My name is Tyler, and as always, I'm joined by my great friend Sean. We appreciate the support in the last two episodes, man. You guys have been killing it on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. Absolutely killing it with the support. We really appreciate growing this podcast organically with you guys. Sean, how are you feeling about this last week in the NBA? I think it's been 5 days since we've last talked. What are some of your thoughts on what's going on right now?
There are a lot of teams hooping right now. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. If you think the current league sucks right now with as much talent that it is, you hate basketball because, man, you have two teams that we're going to talk about today playing right now, two of the best teams in the league. You got Boston, Houston, two of the best defenses in the league playing tonight. And then even some of the bad teams. Like, we haven't talked about the Wizards a lot, but Jordan Poole is hooping this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Tristan Silva, the Magic are staying above water. Tyler Hero. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on in the league right now. So yeah, excited. Happy New Year's to you, bro. And yeah, appreciate the support the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, man. When you said there's a lot going on after saying Tyler Hero, I thought you were about to just go off the rails and start talking about Jimmy Butler. Did you see he got suspended for 7 games now?
Yeah, at that point, don't even suspend him. Just trade him yesterday.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on in Miami, but I do know what's going on in OKC right now. The Knicks are facing the Thunder. That's what you were hinting at when you said two of the best teams are in the league. As we are recording this, they have just started the third quarter. So there's a pretty good chance that by the end of this episode, we'll have a result, depending on how long this runs. But this is a huge game because, let me pull it up real quick. The Knicks, I'm pretty sure, have won 9 straight games. Yes, they've won 9 straight games. They're 24-10. They're only a game behind the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. They've won 9 straight. And then on the other side, the Thunder have won 13 straight. They're 28-5. And it's kind of funny. Every time I look at their win streak, I just think about the fact that Bucks game doesn't exist statistically. They've won 13 in a row because they never faced the Bucks. But I'm going completely off topic here. It's just funny to me.
That is very much stupid, though. That.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. Knicks Thunder, really close game right now. Where do you want to start? Because these are two of the two hottest teams in the league right now, and I think they're so drastically different in style that it's a super interesting contrast. How are you? We've talked about the Thunder a lot, so let's start with the Knicks. How do you feel about the Knicks this season and what they're doing?
I was a big fan of this Knicks team coming out. I really loved the Cat trade. I liked the Bridges trade. Jeez, if I could speak. I liked the Bridges trade when it happened because I'm a fan of front offices that see their window and just go for it, even if it doesn't pan out. Right? I am for the most part a fan of that. And they basically say, no, this is our window. We have our superstar in Brunson. We have a couple of guys on this team that are really, really good already. We're going to pay OG. So let's go get Mikal. I mean, screw the picks, right? Let's get the band back together, whatever. Screw the picks, and then we'll go get Cat too. And throughout the beginning of the season, I think the biggest thing that was, kind of a red flag, or maybe not even a red flag, but you had the yellow caution sign up or whatever. That was we didn't know about their defense, especially at the beginning of the year, because the whole thing's been how bad Cat is as a defender. And I'm not even disputing that. But the second thing was okay, is Mikal going to ever be the guy that you traded for, or is he just going to be maybe a slightly worse version of Phoenix Mikal? That's kind of what it was looking like. And these past 15 games, the Thunder, by the way, have a stupid defense. We'll talk about the Thunder in a sec. The Thunder past 15 games, 102.5 defensive rating. I think that's damn near what they have for the entire season. And once again, mind you, they have not played a game with their best defensive player in 2 months now. The Knicks, for the past 15 games, have had the second best defense in the entire league.
Wow.
Better than Minnesota, better than Boston, better than all these other teams. They've had the second best defense in the league over the past 15 games, and to the point now the Knicks are up to 13th overall for defensive rating. And I know historically speaking, outside of that Nuggets team that won, even then they were 16th in defensive rating for the whole year. You need a top 12, top 13 defense to win a title, and they're gonna get Mitchell Robinson back again at some point. Like the Knicks deserve to be well in that title contender picture. Brunson's a top 10 player. We talked about it a bit. Holy hell, is Karl-Anthony Towns balling out right now? And then you combine that with what Mikal's doing, 41 on Christmas Day, the most ethical 41 points ever, most pure hoops 41 points ever. This Knicks team's rolling. There's, knock on wood, but there's always something weird that happens with this Knicks team, like in Game 3 of the second round or something, to one of their better players. You're like, dang it, like why is this happening again? Why are we is it a byproduct of them playing their top 5 players 45 minutes a night on a random February game? But all seriousness, this team's legit, and we can kind of take the conversation from there because they're hooping right now.
The minutes thing is hilarious because Mikal's currently leading the league at 39.2 minutes per game. You've got Josh Hart playing 37. I was about to say 73. That would be
somehow that would have tracked with the Knicks.
Josh Hart playing 37. OG's playing 36. Brunson's playing 35. Cat's playing 34. Their starters get a lot of run. And that doesn't necessarily worry me when I talk about like projecting forward with injuries and stuff, because a lot of it is just freak injuries. I don't think they're just running their guys into the dirt. But there is a level of like, I am still slightly concerned with the depth on that roster heading into the playoffs. And it's like they rely on those guys to play so many minutes because who's the other option? Like Precious Achiuwa comes in and all of a sudden all of the offensive value that you get with Cat as a floor spacer, as a slasher is just like super mitigated. Cameron Payne, I think has been really solid this season as a role guy, but do you want him as your 7th or 8th guy come playoff time? I don't know. I wouldn't say so. So that's kind of what worries me. And obviously some of that is irrelevant when Mitchell Robinson comes back and you get a legit defensive anchor coming off the bench. But like in terms of serious playoff rotation players, I think the Knicks have 7 fully healthy. I think they have their starting 5. I think they have Deuce McBride, who is awesome. I love Deuce McBride. And then they have Mitchell Robinson. And a top 7 can get you there. That's essentially what Denver had in their title year, right? Like what they have Murray, KCP, MPJ, Gordon, Jokic. And then off the bench, they had Bruce Brown and then Jeff Green? Like Christian Brown, one of
Young
Brown
Christian
or Jeff
Brown.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Christian Brown or Jeff Green, but they weren't playing serious minutes. They really had a top 6 and then like a 7, 8, whatever. So it's possible, right? It's absolutely possible. And I personally haven't watched enough over the last 15 games to see what that defense is about.
I know. I'm mad at myself about that.
But like the personnel, when you look at the personnel, it doesn't look like the type of defense that can string together that type of stretch. Like I think McBride's a good defender. I don't think Brunson gets enough credit for being just like a tenable defender. Like I feel like he gets grouped in with like the worst defenders in the league guys.
He gets grouped in with like Hallie or Melo or
he's fine. Like
he's perfectly fine.
Brunson's a fine defender. Mikal, even with the way he's been playing recently, I wouldn't say anything's jumped out to me about Mikal as like a point of attack defender. And then Cat, we always use this, like every time we talk about Cat, we always start with he's one of the worst drop defenders in the league, but and like has that changed? Are they hedging more? Or I know they like to ice a lot. That's a Thibodeau staple. So I definitely want to look more into the defensive possessions. I might do that tomorrow or tonight and just like really get a read on what's going on there. But as for the offensive side of things, I have been watching a lot of their offensive possessions in preparation for a potential Knicks video. And I just want to say, like, round of applause to Tom Thibodeau. I feel like he always gets credit, right? He always gets credit for being a defensive-minded specialist coach. Never gets enough credit for the type of offensive coach he is and how creative he can be with the way he uses his players. Like, Josh Hart is averaging 15 points and 6 assists this season. That's not normal production from your 5th guy on offense, right? He's shooting 68% on 2-pointers. He's shooting 39% from 3. Josh Hart is playing out of his mind, and it starts with the way they use him, right? Like, one of the big benefits for having Cat at the 5 is you can stretch the floor, have him at the top of the key. Josh Hart can play out of the dunker spot, which they've been doing a lot, and of course, he's a threat to get on the offensive glass. Let me remind you, he's had like 4 straight double-digit rebound games in a row in this recent stretch. So Josh Hart can play out of the dunker spot. He can play from the corner or on the wing, where he's not only a threat to shoot at this point, he's a really, really explosive slasher off the catch. He's a good connective passer. But what's really interesting is that they actually have him initiate a lot of possessions. They have him play like the point guard, and then they'll set up some off-ball stuff with Cat and Brunson, maybe like a corner handoff or something. And Josh Hart also is the guy that controls the pace for them. He's the one who speeds things up, slows things down, grab and go, all that stuff. So Josh Hart, absolute Swiss Army knife for their offense, being used in so many different ways. You have Brunson, who in my opinion is just having easily the best season of his career. The pick and roll scoring, the isolation scoring, the playmaking, the low turnovers. Like, Brunson is just a complete master of controlling offense in the half court. So you've got that. You've got the Josh Hart variable. Then you have two wings in McHale and OG who are just like, they're kind of there in a traditional sense to spot up and shoot off of the other guys, but then they have so much more utility because they can both put the ball on the floor and they can both score in the mid-range. Like McHale, we were talking about it off camera, is having one of the most absurd mid-range scoring seasons in recent memory. The Christmas game, it felt like he couldn't miss. It was a magnet on mid-range shots.
Yeah.
He gets to the mid-range in so many different ways. They can run him off of curl or pin down screens. He can attack closeouts and get to one or two dribble pull-ups. Even occasionally, they've been using him in like the mid-post as like an isolationist against smaller players, because the thing is, everyone's a mismatch against this Knicks team. They want to put their best wing defender on Brunson. So then who do the guards go to? They go to either OG or McHale, and both of those guys are just punishing mismatches. Like OG, again, being used out of the mid-post a bunch, being used off of screens a bunch, attacking closeouts. Like, if you watch the Knicks and you just watch their offensive possessions, you never know what you're going to see on any given possession. You don't know if you're going to see a Cat isolation. You don't know if you're going to see a Brunson pick and roll. You don't know if you're going to see McHale come off a screen and set up in the mid-post. And that versatility will absolutely function at the highest level in the playoffs. This is a playoff offense that no defense on the planet wants to see, even OKC. And I guess we can take that conversation there because OKC, as you mentioned, has been a historically dominant defense. And that's kind of been the catalyst for their success this season.
Again, I don't understand, and this is how I want to start off. I don't understand how saying the Thunder's defense is historic is a hot take. I've gotten some crap for saying that recently, which is just stupid, in my opinion. Look, I couldn't feel, as a guy that has kind of hammered in the Thunder, the Thunder is good train. Or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. For a guy that's been so high on this Thunder team for dang near 2 years now, like end of the year, end of the first year, we kind of like saw, like this team can be really, really good. Chet's rookie year where he was hurt all year. At the end of that year, they lose in the play-in tournament. I have a tweet that literally said that last year's Western Conference Finals, I got it wrong, but it's the principle of like how high I was on this team. The conference finals I said for last season, predicting this a year in advance, would have been the Lakers versus the Thunder. Obviously, some Laker bias. That jersey would be right there for no reason. But I said a year in advance, without seeing a freaking game of Chet Holmgren, said, nope, Lakers Thunder. OKC's legit. J-Dub's legit. Get Chet back here. We're good. They go on and win 56 games last season. And then everybody's like, oh, hey, I told you they were too young. I told you this, told you that. Okay, fine. You go get Isaiah Hartenstein. You go get Alex Caruso. You get Chet. You get J-Dub back for their J-Dub's third year, Chet's second year playing. They both take decent jumps. And then Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as a scorer, like, I don't know. What I have him at in our list? Because you feel like
we both had him third.
Okay, but watching Shea,
did you have him
second? I might have had him second.
Did you have him over Giannis?
I think I had him over Giannis. Yeah, because that was a disagreement.
Okay, yeah, so you had Shea second, I had him third.
So I feel so confident in my pick now because I thought I'm a little bit lower. I thought I'm like third or fourth for whatever reason. But I feel like decently comfortable saying like out of any on-ball guard / wing, so this doesn't include like a Jokic. I mean, I don't really consider Giannis in that conversation either. He's pretty clearly, I think, the most surgical scorer in the league from like a on-ball guard / wing perspective.
Yeah.
most of the time we think of athleticism when we think like vertical pop and vertical juice, or even like quickness. You think like Ja, you think Jay and Ivy. Prayers out to Jay and Ivy, by the way. Like those are the first two guys that came in my head. You think athleticism, but legit, Shea's one of the most athletic players in the league in terms of the ability to decelerate whenever he wants to at any angle. The rookie season tape, this goes around like once every few months or whatever. But the rookie year highlights of Shea with the Clippers, like, are starting to go back around on the timeline again. You're like, dang, like, it's this, but a little bit stronger, I think, and just 100 touches a game, or however many touches it is, right? Yeah. And then obviously just like naturally like progressed and got better. And then, by the way, this is completely going on the radar because he hasn't played again. Chet took a noticeable offensive leap. So you're going to get that guy back. That happens to be the guy that was, if he stayed healthy, the runaway MVP, runaway not MVP, Defense Player of the Year candidate. Yeah. Like, this team's freaking stupid. To the point where their offense, I think, and we've talked about this, their offense can maybe be some semblance of a problem come playoff time because it really just going to come down to, like, can these other guys hit shots? But their defense is so freaking elite to where, okay, the Thunder can win a playoff series. Okay, they face an elite defense. They face Memphis. That's the first thing that popped into my head. They face Memphis in a 7-game playoff series. I don't think you would have a hard time convincing me that OKC couldn't win like 105-97 every game that series.
For sure. No, like, 100%.
That's how good they are.
I feel like people underestimate how much of a floor raiser a great team defense is. We kind of talked about it when we were talking about the Magic. Like, the Magic can lose these star players and still be, like, a fine team. And it's because that team defense raises their floor so much that even if they're not scoring well, they can win games just off of the fact that the other team can't score either. And we've seen that historically happen a lot. Like last year's Timberwolves. They weren't a good offensive team, but they won 56 games just off of the fact that their defense was a complete outlier. I think another example is the 2011 Bulls. Rose won MVP. Rose won MVP, but they had like an average offense and then some historically good defense. Another example, 2014 Pacers. They were like pushing the LeBron Heat to like brink of elimination in the playoffs and winning almost 60 games, and they weren't a good offensive team.
Yeah.
Like, defense is such a good floor raiser. But what the Thunder have done, and I guess I can go back and compare this to the Bulls. The Bulls had this like super high defensive baseline, and then they had like a top creator in the league who just made them good enough offensively to where they're, instead of winning 50 games, they're winning 62. Mm-hmm. Now, what the Thunder have is even a step up. Like, we're talking all-time shot creator with Shea. And so now you have this super high defensive baseline. You have this all-time creator with Shea, and now instead of a number 15 offense, you have a number 7 offense to go along with your number 1 defense, and now you're 28-5 on pace to win 69 games. Now, don't get me wrong, I have my worries with this Thunder team. Like, I think specifically the offense when Shea's on the bench looks really problematic, and to me it just comes down to the fact that J-Dub isn't yet, maybe never will be, I don't want to say that about such a young player, but like, isn't a consistent advantage creator with the ball in his hands. And what I mean by that is, like, when push comes to shove, the defense needs to be broken down. J-Dub isn't the type of guy that's consistently going to beat his man off the dribble or draw 2 to the ball and create that advantage for his team to attack. And to me, that's the biggest difference between him and a guy like Jaylen Brown. Like, a few years ago, Jaylen Brown wasn't that guy yet in the same way J-Dub isn't. But over the years, Jaylen Brown became just this absolutely filthy slasher. And last year in the playoffs, like, nobody could stop him from getting to the rim.
Yeah.
That J-Dub isn't that yet. J-Dub is like this world-class off-ball scorer. So next to Shea, he looks absolutely phenomenal. But when Shea's on the bench, J-Dub's asked to basically like serve as a number 1 for those minutes, and that's where I start to worry in the playoffs, because like other teams I feel like have more trustworthy offensive centerpieces. I just mentioned Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. I think with the Cavs you have Mitchell or Garland. I think with the Mavs you have Luka or Kyrie. I guess
the Knicks,
the better
Cat, Brunson.
Yeah, I was gonna say the best comp for the Thunder would be Nuggets with Jokic, Murray. Like, Murray I don't trust to be that guy, but that's kind of how I feel about J-Dub. And that's what makes it tough, because how many minutes is Shea going to play in the playoffs? And can they? I wonder if Chet's offensive leap will just mitigate all of these issues, because I do think there's something to the dynamic with iHeart being like a passing screening hub with the bench unit. How does Chet filter into all of that? Like, can you get some 3-man stuff going with Chet, J-Dub, and iHeart? I wonder, is like that the direction? To J-Dub's credit, though, they are also like constantly putting out defensively slanted lineups. Like when J-Dub's out there, he's playing with what? Caruso, Kenrich Williams.
Right.
Yeah, like Blue Door. So it's not like they're doing much to help J-Dub. And that actually brings me back to the Shea point, because I feel like people get this idea in their head that just because a team is running 5 out, it means that the defense is respecting the shooters. If you watch the Thunder play, like the paint is packed. They're playing off the gaps. They're sitting in all of Shea's driving lanes. There was a play in the Grizzlies game where he legit, like, it was Jay Huff on one side and I think Luke Kennard on the other. They both just like sunk into this triangle formation to prevent Shea from touching the elbow. And so he just stepped back and took a 19-footer and drilled it. And it was like, what do you do with that? So I'm glad you brought up the functional athleticism. Like, in terms of when people think about athleticism, they think about explosiveness, power, strength, vertical leap. Shea is like not that stuff, but he's super flexible, super coordinated, amazing start and stop, always on balance. And it's like you watch him drive, and the way he moves is so graceful and so coordinated. It's like you can only compare it to what like Dwayne Wade and Michael Jordan. Like, that's how he moves, just without the explosiveness. And then you get like a 50% mid-range shot. You get masterful contact initiation to get to the free throw line at a high rate. Shea's unreal. Ball on a string. Also the handle. Ball on a string, never turns it over. My big thing with the Thunder is, I just talked about like how I have some worries. There's one filthy advantage that they have over like any team in NBA history. I don't know if you've seen this circulating Twitter recently, but it's the way they win the turnover game. It is absurd. It is absurd. Through 30 games,
he robbed me.
I think through 30 games, what they've won the turnover game by like 233 points. And what that means is, like, if they turn the ball over 10 times and the opponent turns the ball over 20 times, they have a 10-point turnover advantage because they turn the ball over 10 less times. They're like 233 turnovers ahead of their opponents in 30 games. And it's a few factors. One, they have so many defensive playmakers, it's almost fake. Shea, J-Dub, Caruso, Dort. I'm definitely missing a few. They have so many guys who can get in the passing lanes and deflect stuff. They draw charges. They just wreak havoc all over the floor. They're so good at forcing turnovers. But then on the other end, they have a guy who can touch the ball 80, 90 times and then turn it over once, and that's Shea. Shea is just unreal with the way he has the ball on a string and surgically gets to his spots without ever turning the ball over. And that advantage is so huge, because we hear every year in the playoffs how important the possession game is, winning possessions. And when you're just guaranteed to get more possessions to score the ball than your team, that is probably the best asset you can have going into a playoff series. Like, if you know you're going to win the turnover game by like 6 points, everything else kind of falls into place. You can have a bad shooting night. I think a good example is Houston in the in-season tournament game. Neither team shot well at all, and they just dominated the possession game, ended up with like 17 more shot attempts. You're going to win that game every time. So, to me, Shea never turning the ball over, being a surgical scorer who can just do whatever with a packed paint, whatever, gives them a really high offensive floor, and then they have the highest defensive floor since, like, what's the last team? Like, is it a Spurs team? Like, I don't know. Their defensive floor is absurd. And so you go into a playoff series, and like you said, they can muck things up, slow things down, and win games with like a score of 97-90. And we just won't bat our eyes at it because it's normal. And so, yeah, I think Thunder, just scary, scary team. Do have some flaws, do have some concerns on offense. But in terms of just like their floor as a team, probably the highest in the league.
All right. They're sitting on all these draft picks. they need to go get Cam Johnson.
I was literally you I was gonna say that and then it slipped my mind, so I'm glad I stole your turnover thing. You get to steal that from me. Yes, Cam Johnson, dude.
Go get
Crazy
Cam
fit.
Johnson. If there's any team, I've heard that Brooklyn's asking price for Cam Johnson is 2 first-round picks, and that's the case, dude. Cough up those 2 first-round picks and go win a ring. Like,
Yeah.
and OKC, the way they've like laid this out from a asset standpoint with picks and a like raw financial thing with like cap space, it's so perfect to where they can do this and basically not have to give up any of their like key. Okay, maybe you give up Isaiah Joe, all right,
Or Aaron Wiggins.
or
It's
Aaron
like-
Wiggins.
Yeah.
Oh well, like I randomly, all right, I threw like Isaiah Joe, like Cameron Williams in a trade machine on spot tracking. You like include, all right, maybe Usman Jang or whatever, and some like 2 picks, right? Your rotation, Shea, or like everybody's healthy. Shea, Kaysen. You could still bring Cam Johnson off the bench if you wanted to. That's how stupid this team is. Shea, Kaysen, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Chet. All right. AC. Yep, AC. You have Hart off the bench. Hart. Then you have Cam Johnson.
That's a
And
nasty top 8.
then Aaron Wiggins. Yeah, I didn't trade Aaron Wiggins. So that's a nasty top 9.
Yeah.
Like
That's-
go trade for Cam Johnson. It's 2 first-round picks, Sam Presti.
I couldn't agree more, and that brings them a whole different dynamic on offense. Like I'm imagining the 2-man game with Ihart and Cam Johnson against bench
In that
lineup.
second unit, yeah.
Bro, chef's kiss, man. Beautiful stuff. And that would add another like legit 3-point threat for the Shea minutes that the defense can't help off of. You cannot help off of Cam Johnson. I don't think people realize how good of a season he's having right now. Like,
Yeah.
I looked at his numbers just this morning or last night, and I was like in shock. He's averaging 19.5 points a game, 3 assists, shooting 50% from the field, 44% from 3 on 7.5 attempts a game, 67% true shooting. Like, bro, what are we doing? That's like an all-star. That's like an all-star. Yeah, Cam Johnson's absurd, and the Thunder have probably the best package that the Nets would want in a trade for Cam Johnson. So yeah, I 100% agree with you. I actually was on the trade machine this morning, and I was like, how can the Timberwolves get Cam Johnson? Because I was
That's
like,
another
they
cool
need
fit.
Cam Johnson. But like, yeah, the Thunder can absolutely do it if they
Right.
want to. And
You brought up the Timberwolves. I think it's funny how, and Ants maybe brought a little bit on himself with the media stuff recently. I find it hilarious how everybody is like starting to like sell stock in Ant. I even put a tweet about that earlier. I'm like, it's hilarious.
it's an overcorrection because everyone, like, dude, after last season, like I was huge on Ant, right? Like I that playoff run was awesome, but like people in the media were like
Yeah.
ranking him as the 4th and 5th best player in the world and saying he was like Michael Jordan, and I'm like, bro, what are we doing?
And I'm over here like,
And my big thing was like, I need to see more from Ant as a playmaker. I don't even trust him as a lead guard yet, let
like a
alone Michael
decision
Jordan.
maker. Yeah.
And then this comes out where he says, I don't like being double teamed. I want to score.
I'm like,
And then you have guys like Luca who are like, keep he literally, Luca said in a post-game interview like 4 years ago, he was like, I love it when teams double team me because that means my teammates get to play 4-on-3.
yeah.
Like, that's the mindset you're supposed to have as a lead guard. I get the whole like score first mentality, but think about some of the other guys that we compare Anthony Edwards with as I feel like last year he was getting compared to Shea.
Nonstop.
Yeah, and it's like, what are we doing? And then now he's getting compared to like Mitchell and Booker. Both of those guys are like stratospheres ahead of Ant as a passer, as a playmaker. So yeah, it is interesting. I haven't sold any of my stock in Edwards, and that's because I was never on some obscene trip with him anyways. I wasn't doing the shrooms and having him as the 3rd best player on the planet.
I had him very comfortably like 15th. And even then, it might have been
I
lower.
had him like 11th. I think I had him like 11th or 12th.
Yeah.
And I still feel fine about that. Like, I still really like the defense. The 3-point leap has been awesome. But, like, yeah, there's this other stuff, like the playmaking and then, like, the lackluster moments where he just kind of falls asleep on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
His lack of pace, like use of pace.
Like
I don't know how we ended up on this tangent, but now we're
no,
just
no,
bodying Anthony Edwards.
no. He's like very like easily the like 15th best player or like 12 to 15th best player on the planet, and that's okay until
And
those
he's
like
still
leaves
what,
happen.
what is he 20, 22, 23 years old? Like
Yeah.
let the guy grow, man.
I do have one question for you before we move on. If you're Minnesota, do you do J-Dub for Cam Johnson? I'm not J-Dub, Jada
Jaden
McDaniels.
McDaniels,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think McDaniels is like really integral. How do you say that word? By
I
the
know
way?
what you mean. Integral?
that?
Integral.
Can you teach me right now? Integral or integral? I think it's integral.
I feel like I use both. And like
Yeah, so do I. That's what I'm saying. That's why I never put it in my scripts. I always exit it out and switch to a
integral?
different
Hold on.
word. I always, every time I write it in a script, I switch it over to like important because I don't know how to say it. But
Integral.
integral. I think it's integral.
Integral.
What? Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to now. How do you
I think it's integral. I want to say it's integral. Someone in the comments.
Integral.
It's integral.
Wait, I think you say it both ways. Bro, because I went to like Merriam-Webster or whatever. They have it like both ways.
Okay, so I guess I'm right. I'm right either way, but I'm gonna say integral. I feel like it rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah.
Jaden McDaniels is integral to what the Timberwolves do on defense. They absolutely need him on defense, but like I said, they already have that really high defensive floor. Like DiVincenzo's been defending his ass off. Edwards is still a really good point of attack defender. Gobert is like top 5 defender on the planet still. So you have those pieces, and the bigger problem is the fact that their 3 front court players, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert, are combining for like 2.5 made 3-pointers per game.
Yeah.
What kind of spacing is that in 2025? That is just absurd. And like, if you replace McDaniels, who teams don't respect at all, with like a top 10 shooter on the planet, I think they just become a drastically better team. And it's really that simple.
Yeah, I understand that, and I act like that trade like basically straight up works. Now,
And then they have to throw in some picks, of course.
yeah, which is like basically just swaps for Minnesota. That's unfortunate, but yeah. The good news is, hey, that deal works. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's on the table. Going back though to the Anthony Edwards conversation, I brought up a comparison with Donovan Mitchell, and that's a perfect segue into the Cavs because the Cavs have won 8 straight games. They're 29-4. They're about to be 30-4 because they're handling the Kyrie and Luka-less Mavs at the moment. They're going to be 30-4. Can we talk about how absurd that is? Like, why is that not a bigger story? They're on pace to win like 73 games, and we're just like ignoring it. You should start because I know you've had your internal battle with the Cavs season. So, how are you feeling about the about soon to be 30-4 Cavs?
oh man, don't I just feel so spectacular right now? I forget if we did this off camera or on camera, but remember when we did like some of our over under stuff or for win projections?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here looking at it, and there's some of these that like I feel pretty good about. Like I feel great about Memphis over 46.5, Atlanta over 36.5. Those are Detroit 25.5. Those feel great. I had Cleveland under 48.5 for wins, and I was
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, FanDuel can just like take that bet off my screen. I don't want to like look at that and remind myself how stupid I was. The thing with Cleveland is every time we talk about the Cavs, I have to like go back through the process and why it was so dumb. Because in my like power rankings, Tyler, I fully accounted for not necessarily in a rating, but like I put like a green arrow up sign, like projecting that there could be a breakout for Evan Mobley. Fully accounted for a breakout from Evan Mobley. Fully recognized that Darius Garland lost a ton of weight and dealt with a broken jaw last season, while also like ranking Donovan Mitchell in my top 15. And despite all of that, I still came out and said, yeah, they're going to win like less than 48 games. So great job on my part. But all seriousness, it's really like every single thing that could go right for Cleveland has gone right. Like Evan Mobley's an all-star. Darius Garland is getting back. This is, I think, Darius Garland's best year of his career.
Yeah, I agree.
The playmaking, the shooting, and I think we were talking about this off camera. If you look at their top 7 guys of rotation, I think you said like every single one of them except Donovan Mitchell is true shooting percentage higher than 60.
Yeah, top 7.
Like that's absurd.
Absurd.
Even if you look at like how they've built out their roster, like while I'm doing that, another thing I didn't necessarily count for, Kenny Atkinson coming in and being this good for them.
Yeah, it's fair.
Like Ty Jerome is way overperforming his contract. Dean Wade, when he's been there, way overperforming his contract. Evan Mobley's extension, that got so much crap, I feel, from like NBA Twitter. The Evan Mobley extension got so much crap this summer. And now you're looking at this, you're like, is that like an underpay? Like, comparatively speaking, like, you got dudes who are going to be making $70 million in the last year of his deal, and he's going to be like 28 making 50. Like, that's it. And I mean, that's it. And it's $50 million.
$50 million. But no,
that's it.
It makes, it makes complete sense.
Like, these guys they just got back Max Strus. And we talked about this a while back, like maybe in the preseason. One of the things that you touched on was how like this team in a playoff setting, for the most part, is always going to have a elite floor general that can control the game offensively guard, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. And then they're always going to have an elite defensive anchor on the floor at all times, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So the way they can mix and match certain lineups and just add in like 3 random role players next to those 2 guys at all times makes this team super tough. And I mean, we get to see them against OKC twice in like a span of 7 days. Thank God both of those games are on national TV, because I don't know what I would have done if they weren't. You got the 2 best teams in the league on historic paces right now, and by the time those 2 teams play, Cleveland's going to be probably like at that point they're at 8 right now. They'll be on a 10-game win streak going into that OKC game. OKC's down 7 right now, but let's say OKC finds a way to squeak that one out, then OKC could be going in there on a 16-game win streak, because again, that that Bucks game for whatever reason just doesn't count, and we should just erase that game from our memories. Oh, never mind. I'm going to take that back. They play Boston next. This OKC schedule's like gauntlet now. But no, man, this Cavs team is hooping. Evan Mobley is better than I think. This has got to be like what you would imagine if you were Evan Mobley truther when he came out of USC. This has got to be like what the vision was. Shooting a 3-ball with elite confidence. He's upped his volume. He's doubled his volume from 3 compared to last season. And last thing, Tyler, because I don't want to keep ranting, I'm yapping over here. There's a lot of talk, and we've talked about this in the past, about how, basketball sucks now. The way the Cavs move the ball is genuinely so fun to watch. Like, they all play it the right way. It's like pure hoops in Cleveland right now, man. And shout out to Kenny Atkinson once again. It might be the death sentence, but he's got to win Coach of the Year. Dagnall's been incredible, but I don't think anybody expected them to be 30-4 out the gate. Like, this is stupid.
This team is a historically good offense, which is such a beautiful change of pace over the past few years, or from the past few years, I should say, because they've been a defensive-minded team that kind of had to scrape together on offense. And that was it was the floor raiser argument that I was talking about. Like, they had a high floor as a Eastern Conference team because they were always a top 3 defense. But their ceiling was kind of questionable because there were ways to exploit their lack of offense and then take advantage of multiple non-shooters and all of these things. And now we're looking at a completely different team. Like, this team has the highest offensive ceiling maybe ever. Their offense is so absurdly good, and it just stems from a ton of different things. You talked about Evan Mobley doubling his three-point volume. He's shooting 43%. The Nuggets tried to make him a shooter, and he had like 5 threes against the Nuggets or something like that, and the Cavs had like 150 points in regulation. Like, what are we doing? I think you have legitimately 2 of the top like 12 shooters on the planet. Garland is shooting 43% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. Mitchell is shooting 41.5% from 3 on 9 attempts a game. Karis LeVert, 47% from 3. Isaac Okoro, 49% from 3. They just got back Max Strus, who's probably their 3rd best shooter. Like, this team doesn't miss threes. When I was watching the Lakers game, I had the revelation that this team doesn't miss threes. And then I checked, and they have like the 3rd or 4th highest three-point percentage by a team ever, and it's like 41%.
Wait, 3rd or 4th highest ever?
Yeah, and it was like the 1997 Hornets were first, the 2016 Warriors were second, and then it was the 2021 Clippers and the 2025 Cavs. And it was like, the Warriors don't even count because all of their threes were Steph and Clay. Dang. That's not like a collective team. Like, the Cavs, everyone shoots threes and everyone makes them. So
yeah, you're right.
You just have a full roster of guys who don't miss threes, right? You also have a full roster of guys who can pass. I think Mobley is one of the better passers at his position. Same with Jared Allen. Jared Allen doesn't get enough credit for being a really good connective passer. Karis LeVert's a legitimately great passer, like criminally underrated passer. Garland's one of the best passers in the league. Mitchell's one of the better passers in the league. Ty Jerome's an elite passer.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill's a great passer. Max Strus can make one-handed skip passes with a live dribble. What are we doing, man? So much shooting.
Talk about that Max Strus pass he threw the other day?
I'm not even talking about a specific one. He makes crazy passes.
Am I tripping? Yeah, okay, my bad. Go ahead.
No, but he makes some crazy passes. He does. So you got like a bunch of good passers, a bunch of good shooters. They have a bunch of ball handlers too. Like at all times, because of Mobley's leap, at all times they have 3 ball handlers on the court. In the starting lineup, it's Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley. In bench lineups, it's what? Ty Jerome or LeVert is always on the floor with one of Garland, Mitchell. Max Strus can handle the ball. Sam Merrill can handle the ball. They always have ball handlers. So they always have ball handlers. They always have shooters. They always have passers. Oh, and they always have a top 12 defender on the planet on the court as well. So it's like the two-way lineups they can construct is just, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
There might not be a more modern team offense that you can find more than the Cleveland Cavaliers in terms of kind of to what you said. We have guys like, I mean, you find any like random coach talking about what they want a player is going to be. Oh, we want them to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. Yeah. I don't know what that random voice is at the end.
No, it's all good.
Like that's what they all say, right? We want guys to get dribble, pass, shoot, and that I didn't know that they were shooting the ball that well from 3, but no, like that's literally the Cavs. Like you talk about the entire roster. I'm going to keep talking about Ty Jerome. That dude is insanely good at everything offensively.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, like the upper class in the Eastern Conference are severely elite, and all 3 of those teams could come out and win the title this season. Yeah, and Cavs fans, for the billionth time now, I apologize. And if they win the title this year, I'll probably apologize like 500 more times because this team's legit. And then they're doing this, mind you, with Donovan Mitchell probably having a down year.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily a down year. It's more so just like a backseat. Like I feel like he just recognizes that he doesn't have to do as much because, like I said, he's shooting 41.5% from 3. Yeah. He's still averaging 24, 5, and 5. So I feel like it's more so just like a, hey, I don't have to do as much. I'm just gonna chill out and pick my spots. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Because then there was one game. I can't remember which game it was. There was one game where he just like took over. Like he recognized like, oh, the team offense isn't functioning in the way that we need it to. Now I'm gonna do my spread pick and roll thing and just like take over the game. Yeah. So there's still that. Let me ask you, Cavs or Knicks in the playoff series right now?
I think I go Cleveland.
I do too. I'd probably say Cavs in like 6. I think Cavs. I was
gonna say Cavs in 7. I think the thing that pushes them over the top, I just think their floor from a defensive standpoint is just too high.
It's fair. That's fair. You know what my argument would be for Cavs Knicks, like for anyone who's kind of like on the Knicks side of things? The superpower that comes with having Cat as your 5 is
It's neutralized.
the fact that you can stretch other 5s. The problem is the Cavs have 2 5s. So they're going to be stretching Jared Allen, sure. But
Yeah.
then Mobley, and also, one thing that's so underrated about Mobley, like people view him as like a versatile defender, but they don't talk about the fact that the Cavs actually like deploy him as a wing defender for like more than half of his minutes.
Yeah.
Against the Magic, he guards Franz. Against the Celtics, he was guarding Jaylen Brown. Like the guy legitimately just matches up with wings. So I'm assuming he would guard OG, either OG or Mikhail, and he would like legitimately just like play the matchup straight up, and then they'd switch all screens with Cat between him and Allen.
I think he guard Mikal. Because I view no, I think it's OG.
I think Mitchell. I'd go Mitchell on Mikhail probably.
Yeah, because I think how they play that is what.
Oh, actually, Josh Hart makes things really weird. because
I can see the adjustment easily being like, look, we'll use like Josh Hart as a screener, and then you just say, all right, cool, we'll just put Evan Mobley on Josh Hart.
you know, I think they would go Garland on Brunson for sure. Small guard on small guard, and then they would just switch everything and force Brunson to play 1-on-1. So they could like neutralize all of like the movement stuff that they like to do. They would have Brunson just spamming 1-on-1 and like tell him, "Hey, you have to beat us in isolation, or you're not going to beat us." And so that's probably what they
go score 60 in isolation.
Yeah,
Garland
he did it against Philly. He did
Right.
it against Philly. But
so like, Garland on Brunson.
I'd go Mitchell on Hart. And then I'd have Mitchell like kind of like play free safety because he's kind of like the roamer guy with the way he jumps lanes and stuff. And then you have Mobley and Dean Wade for the other 2 spots.
Dean Wade. I go Dean Wade on OG.
I don't know who I'd rather have, or would you go Mobley on Hart? Yeah, because
That's what I want to do. I want to go Mobley on Hart personally.
Yeah, I'd go Mobley on Hart, and then you go Mitchell probably on OG because he's stronger. Huh? No, Mitchell on Mikhail. Mitchell on Mikhail. And then Wade on OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I feel really
Cavs
good about
like
that.
6 or 7.
I feel really good about that. Yeah.
It would take something like heroics from like a Brunson.
Well, think about the other side. How do the Knicks match up? It would definitely be OG on Mobley. 100% OG on Mobley.
OG on Mobley. It's probably Mikhail on Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. See, that's like Mikhail on Mitchell with Cat and Drop. How do we feel about that?
Or Mikhail on DG. I feel good about either of those, not going to lie. We're just spamming spread pick and roll with Cat and Drop.
Though? I actually wonder if the adjustment would be Josh Hart on Jared Allen, which kind of sounds absurd. Or
no,
not. I meant OG.
Vision.
I meant OG.
Yeah,
I don't know why I said Josh Hart. OG on Jared Allen, because Jared Allen's their primary screener, and then you can switch the pick and rolls, and then have Cat on Mobley.
Hold on.
Cavs are hard to match up with.
Unless you're like Boston.
Yeah, I mean, even then though, like I feel like they could give Boston some trouble because like
healthy Cavs
are nasty, man. I mean, well, they're always healthy, right? Besides Max Strus, they've been healthy most of the season. Yeah, Cavs are a freaky good offense. Let's move on though, because we've been just talking about Cavs and the Knicks for like 50 hours now. Let's move to the Western Conference, because another team that is on an absolute heater right now is the Memphis Grizzlies. And when you said shoot, dribble, pass, this is the team that comes to mind.
Grizzlies. Yeah.
They play probably the closest game to like the beautiful game Spurs. I don't know if you've picked up on this, but the Grizzlies don't run pick and rolls. They just like, it's abandoned. They do not run pick and rolls.
The Grizzlies are like the perfect example. They're like the perfect example of like just shoving people's faces when somebody goes and says, well, the problem with the NBA is everybody plays the same. But no, they don't. Just because you watch the Celtics jack up threes, you cannot tell me the Grizzlies play like anybody else in the entire league. It's not comparable.
Yeah, they don't run pick and rolls. They play extremely fast. They're averaging like 37 points a game in transition. Shoot, dribble, pass. That's literally their entire roster. Santi Aldama is almost 7 feet tall and he can shoot, dribble, pass.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr. can shoot, dribble. I don't know about the passing, but he can shoot, dribble. Jay Huff can shoot, dribble, pass, and he's a center. Marcus Smart hasn't really played. He's been hurt. He can shoot, dribble, pass. Ja Morant, not much of a shooter, but like ultimate rim pressure, and then an elite playmaker. Desmond Bane's starting to pick it up. When he's healthy, shoot, dribble, pass guy. Jalen Wells as a rookie, shoot, dribble, pass. Scottie Pippen Jr. Like, I just want to hammer that point home. Vince Williams has played 3 games. Gigi Jackson's played 0. They can both shoot, dribble, pass, and Vince Williams can defend. The Grizzlies are scary good, man. They don't even have a single player averaging 30 minutes a game. Every time we talk about the Grizzlies, we talk about the fact that they have like 10 rotation NBA players that you feel good about in the playoffs, and then they just keep adding more. Like right now they have like 15.
Yeah.
It's like where did Cam Spencer come from? And now he's a rotation player. Yeah, the Grizzlies are easily the deepest team in the league. They're stacked on both ends of the floor, and I feel like because they haven't really played a game with their full roster, people are underrating what they can be at their ceiling.
When in reality, this is another team, and I'm gonna victory lap for the both of us. This is another team that, like, in the preseason, we were kind of like, yeah, I don't understand why people aren't high on this Grizzlies team. It's essentially since Ja Morant's touchdown in Memphis, it's essentially been like, if I'm healthy or if like the team around me's healthy, we're a really good team. We're like a 50-ish win team every year. And we both like, yeah, that's about right. And they've been that. Taylor Jenkins has talked a lot about how they've reorchestrated their offense. Shout out my guy Adam Pike on Twitter. Great Twitter follow. Does a lot of great stuff covering the Grizzlies. He's gone in depth about their wheel stuff to the point that I need to like actually learn more about it. Like, I'm familiar with it, but not like enough to talk about it. But they play so different compared to every other team in the league, and it's actually it makes it interesting for a playoff series, especially if you face them like second or third round, where it's all right. We just guarded Luka Doncic spread pick and roll 70 times tonight. All right, who do we have next on the schedule? Oh, we have the team that runs like pick and roll like 12 times a night, and it's all Ja Morant pick and roll probably. To your point about pace, this team has the fastest pace in the league. They are, and what's even more impressive. So hold on, wait. They're ninth in the league in hold on, crap, it's not what I wanted. Hold on. They're 5th in the league in pace off of a missed shot. They are 2nd in the league at pace off of a made shot, which is, I think it's one thing to be fast off of a missed shot. That in a perfect world, like, that should be relatively easy.
Yeah.
But to be that fast off of a made shot where we have to get the ball out, we have to get down the court, like we have to run our lanes and in early offense, and that just makes so much sense, especially for healthy Ja, for Jaren, for D Bane, to where I don't know how many threes they're taking off the top of my head, but like now that even for like a Desmond Bane, cool, let's get some early offense transition threes. Ja, let's play in space. Jaren, let's attack in space. Attack off the move.
38.5, by the way. 38.5 threes a game.
That feels very middle of the pack.
I don't know. I don't even know what the numbers say anymore. All I know is the Celtics take like 50.
Yeah.
That's all I know. They have the number 6 offense and the number 4 defense right now. They're number 1 in pace, number 10 in free throw rate. They're 17th in 3-point rate. So,
yeah, I'm about to say that feels very middle of the pack.
They're a very they're a very high turnover team. So like a contrast from the Thunder, but to the point on the possession game, they are really good at offensive rebounding. Really, really good at offensive rebounding. So they win a lot of those possessions back. I think the one thing that kind of worries me about the Grizzlies is that I think we've talked about this. We talked about defense giving your team a high floor, like being a really good floor raiser. So is depth. I think the Grizzlies benefit a ton from just having so many NBA caliber guys that like I said, their leader in minutes is Desmond Bane at 28.5. Then it's Jaren at 28.5, Ja Morant at 27.7, Santi at 26, Jalen Wells at 25. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players averaging 20 minutes a game. Which is just, it sounds fake. But to my point on the depth thing, when you can play like 10, 12, 15 players for extended stretches of a game, and they're all quality, you can experience injuries, you can experience droughts and go for something different.
Yep.
You can attack other bench units with just like all types of different looks. But in the playoffs, it's no secret that rotations shorten, right? It's just natural.
Are we
And
going with the load thing here? Is that what we're going with?
well, no, it's just like I think the Grizzlies have a superpower, and it's the fact that they're like 14 deep,
Gotcha.
which matters in an 82-game season. But then you get into the playoffs, and it's like, how does their top 7 stack up? How does their top 8 stack up? And that's where I wonder if the Grizzlies aren't as good as like the Nuggets, for example. Like, I think the Grizzlies as a complete roster are just straight up better than the Nuggets, and that's why they're probably going to win more games. But when you bog it down just to like top 7, 8, and then the stars are playing 40, like Jokic is playing 40 minutes a game, are the Grizzlies really better than the Nuggets in 16 playoff wins? That's my question.
I think the problem is, like, if you took a poll of like people's 5 different people, took a poll from 5 different people, on what's the Grizzlies' top 7, I think you would get like at least 3 different answers, maybe even all 5 different answers. Where if you ask somebody, what's Denver's top 7 or top 8? And I think I basically said it because I think this team is just not ever played healthy, like fully healthy, to where you got Ja, you got Jaren, you got Gigi or Vince.
Before you move on, what would your top 7 be fully healthy? Or let's do top 8. Let's do top 8.
Ja, D-Bane, Jaren, Santi Aldama, Jalen Wells probably has to be in there.
See, this is what makes it tough because you need one of the centers in there. But like, which center is it? Who's
I'm probably going Edie.
Is it Edie over Huff and or Brandon Clark? I feel like it's got to be Edie. Yeah,
It's probably got to be Edie. So that's 6.
This is where it's tough because I think Scottie Pippen Jr. and LaRavia are both super valuable. I'd go LaRavia over Jalen Wells, I think.
Really?
And they kind of occupy similar positions.
Yeah. I want to watch their finish that game against Sacramento later, but that's tough. That's tough.
That is. Yeah, I can't even do
I'm
it.
such a Vince Williams guy too, so I really want to see them back healthy because I think in a perfect world, I think Vince Williams I'm probably throwing in there, and then like if you want to go Laravia, or I could see them still maybe pull off a 9-man rotation.
Oh, Marcus Smart too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Do you trade Marcus Smart just so you can say, all right, is this one less guy we have to play?
Dude, so I was thinking about this the other day because
is that crazy?
Another question mark I kind of have for the Grizzlies is like, I don't know if they have a go-to half-court play because of the fact that John Morant, like they don't run pick and roll anymore. And even if they do, it's not like a legit pick and roll big. It's like Zach Edey.
Yeah.
And Zach Edey's like, he's a good screener, but he's not like a legit, consistent play after play pick and roll big.
Right.
And so that's what makes it tough because every other top team I think has like a play. I think with the Cavs it's spread pick and roll. One pick your guys. Mitchell and Mobley, Garland and Allen, whatever. I think the Knicks, same thing, Brunson and Cat. That 2-man game is otherworldly efficient. Boston, I would say it's an ISO. It's a Jason Tatum ISO. Break down the defense, kick it out. I think OKC, same thing, Shea ISO. Their guard-to-guard screens or their flat ball screens even.
Yep. Like, it's a few. Denver, Jokic post-ups, their 3-man action.
Yeah, or the 2-man game with Jamal or Russ at this point, which we'll talk about in a sec. What other team? Mavs.
Dallas.
Luka pick and roll. So
any type of Luka pick and roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Luka pick and roll with someone from the crowd is gonna create.
Me and Tyler out there setting.
Yeah, dude. But like bringing it back to Memphis, I don't think they have that play, and that makes me wonder. Like, could they run into situation? I would not be surprised at all if they go into these playoff series. Think of, you know what? I'm gonna compare it to Minnesota versus Dallas last year. The game was always super close. Minnesota would have the advantage going into the fourth quarter, and then Dallas would prove to just have the more viable punch. They would just like close out the game significantly better and pull out in the final minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis gets into a series where they're outplaying their opponent for like 44 minutes a game, and then that last 4, the other team just gets it done. And
That
Memphis
sounds
loses.
so much like a Denver matchup, and maybe as PTSD.
It does. Or Dallas.
That's such a Denver thing, or a Dallas matchup.
Dallas, Denver, OKC, all 3 of them. I think it would happen. That would happen to Memphis. And so, I'm not saying I would do this or that I think it's a good idea, but I saw on Twitter yesterday, someone did a trade package for Kevin Durant to the Grizzlies with all of those assets, right? Because they have like 15 young players.
Right.
And I don't know what they have to do to make the contracts work. I don't know if it's like Smart, Pippen Jr., Brandon Clark, Vince Williams, and Gigi Jackson. All I'm saying is a Kevin Durant ISO is a pretty good late game option. And you already have the rim pressure from John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. So if I were sitting in the Memphis front office, I would consider it. I'd be looking at it.
Brandon Clark. Oh my God. Hold on.
Could you? Okay. Let me bring it back to our last discussion. If Memphis's top 8 was John Morant, Desmond Bane, Kevin Durant, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson Jr., we'll say Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia, and Zach Edey. That's their top 8. Where do they rank in the West?
Ew. Okay, so wait. Money wise, forget the players that are being traded for like 3.8 seconds.
All right.
But Marcus Smart, Brandon Clark, Luke Kennard, John Conchar, that works, right? I mean, now let's swap out a couple of those for like young talent or whatever.
Yeah.
If you
like Gigi Jackson would have to be in there. Probably Vince Williams too.
GG, all right. So GG and Vince, and we'll take out like a Kennard or something. I don't know.
I bet a lot of Memphis fans would say that they wouldn't do this, by the way, just because of like vibes and like the way Kevin Durant's 10 years have gone. But like if you're just trying to maximize the window, and I think this is the time to do it because Wemby's coming, the Thunder are not getting any older. So I feel like this is the time. So if you want to just really like go for the home run, that's the guy. He's still a top 7, 8 player on the planet.
Ja, D-Bane, Jaren, Katie, Edey, Aldama, LaRavia, Jay Huff, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jalen Wells. That's nasty.
That would be. I was about to say the craziest statement ever uttered on a podcast. I was gonna say.
Were you about to say like that's like the greatest team of all time or something?
I was gonna say that's the best team Kevin Durant's ever played on.
Oh my god,
dude.
Maybe the deepest team he's ever played on.
We gotta end this podcast, bro.
Those Warriors teams when he got there, I mean, best team of all time. But like after that first year, they did not have any depth after that first year.
I just also real quick, I want to throw out there the Thunder absolutely blitzed the Knicks in the end of the game.
Yeah,
just destroyed them in the last few minutes. Ended up winning by 10.
That was the other thing I was gonna say about OKC earlier. Like their switch when it does like flip on.
Yeah.
Like it happened the other night too against the Clippers. They were losing to the Clippers with like no James Harden. They were down like 10 after the first quarter, and then they just blitzed them in the second and third.
Timberwolves too. Timberwolves were up by like 14, and then Shea had 19 in the third. And the highlight reel from that third quarter was like, dude, I didn't know what I was watching. I was like,
in the Clippers game, the Thunder outscored them. Quick math: 68-42 in the second and third quarter.
Didn't Shea only have like 22 points in that game?
29.
29.
Which still feels
okay.
low.
I was gonna say because he's a walking 30. Real quick before we get out of here, I want to shout out the Nuggets. I don't want to talk about them for too long because we've talked about them a lot. I specifically want to highlight the Russell Westbrook dynamic. He started in 11 games now. They're 9-2 when he starts. He is shooting. So, spoiler alert. I actually might upload this video right when we get out of this podcast, but I've been working on a Westbrook and Jokic duo video. So I've been pulling numbers all day. Like my you know the scene from The Hangover when they're at the casino and the numbers are flying all over the place? That's me with Westbrook stats right now. So I'm going to throw a couple at you. With Jokic on the floor, he is shooting 67% on two-pointers. His career high before this was with the Rockets, 51%. So Just unreal efficiency. 2-pointers. I think it's like 57 or 58% true shooting with Jokic. So, like, shout out to Jokic. If you told me that Westbrook was going to be a league average efficiency guy next to Jokic, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So also shout out to Russ because he shifted his shot diet a little bit. He's not really taking the long twos. He's picking his spot.
Thank God.
Dude, Westbrook has missed one shot in the last 2 games. He was like 7 for 7 and then 6 for 7 or something like that. Like, the dude is playing amazing. Also with Jokic on the floor, he's averaging 9.3 assists per 75, 3.1 turnovers. By far the best assist to turnover ratio he's ever had.
Yeah.
The pick and roll stuff is amazing. I saw a stat that Westbrook pick and rolls on the Nuggets are generating like 0.84 points per possession or something. But with Jokic, it's like 1.1. So it's like the Westbrook Jokic pick and roll dynamic. I was hyped for how much Westbrook was going to open up the short mid range for Jokic. That's been obviously obvious to see, but also the way Jokic's roll gravity has led to so many easy driving lanes for Russ. Like, Russ is consistently getting open layups out of pick and roll situations. Same with early offense situations. One thing I've been watching is Jokic as the trailer. Bigs have to pick him up, top of the key. Westbrook's getting a lot of early offense situations where he can just attack a wide open paint. And the thing about Westbrook is, like, when he only has one defender to beat, he's a really, really tough cover. And then it's like, oh, help comes from the weak side. Let me kick it to Michael Porter Jr. Like, dude, the Westbrook fit has been, I was high on the Westbrook fit, like, right when he got picked up. This is far exceeding my expectations. And I've got a couple more numbers to throw at you before I finish my sermon. And these numbers they sound fake. So with Westbrook on the floor, Jokic is averaging 33 points per 75 on 67% true shooting. Just like the best scorer ever when Westbrook's on the court. When Westbrook's off the court, Jokic is averaging 26 points on 63% true shooting. So, like,
the Bron meme.
Yeah, way more human. That's like the Jokic we kind of got used to, right? Like the high efficiency, but like super not high volume. So, like, that's not a coincidence. Westbrook is making things easier for Jokic. The better stat, though, is the offensive ratings. Because with Westbrook and Jokic on the floor together, the Nuggets have a 126.7, right? Pretty good. Westbrook, Jokic, and Murray, 133. Westbrook, Jokic, and MPJ, 134. And last one. All of those 4 guys on the floor together. So Jokic, Murray, MPJ, and Westbrook. It's only 150 minutes, so take this with a grain of salt. Can you guess the offensive
Jokic, Murray, MPJ, and Westbrook?
Yeah, guess the offensive rating.
128. Final answer.
143. It's like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Riverside, I hope you're getting my straight face.
Can I please say, like, can we stop overvaluing spot up shooting so much? Like, people genuinely thought the offense was going to get worse, replacing KCP with a high level playmaker just because he's not a good floor spacer. Like, come on, what are we doing? And like, Westbrook is by far the best passer any of these guys have played with besides Jokic. And it's the best passer Jokic has ever played with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think the Westbrook fit has been like an absolute out of the park home run, and the Nuggets are just, they're as good as they were last year.
This was a miss. This was just a complete miss on my part. I don't know why it was a miss. It was just a miss. And I'll own it because it's been incredible. The way Russ and Jokic have dominated in 2-man game basically all season, especially since he's been put to the starting lineup. They're also in a really, really good game with the Spurs right now.
And Wemby and Jokic are battling.
31 and 12 for Jokic. By the way, on stupid volume. So, guys, if you guys want to wonder why and when Jokic started like shooting 25 plus shots a game, just go back to like episode 4 when Tyler begged him to shoot more shots. And also, basically ever since then. I don't want
I don't want to cut you off, but Westbrook having another performance like I just talked about. 9 points, 7 assists. He's missed 1 shot.
2 shots. That's
okay,
good.
he just missed then.
My bad.
Mine still says 4 for 5. So he missed while we're doing this. He missed.
That's funny. Yeah, like I don't know when. Like Aaron Gordon's been in and out.
Yeah. Same with Christian Brown a little bit.
Same with Christian Brown. So this is the thing with Denver. Denver, again, maybe this is just like PTSD. I'm a Charger fan. I don't know if you knew that, Tyler. I'm a Charger fan. So maybe it's just, I'm used to like it being a team that just like haunts you or whatever, and you see the game script play out time and time again, and there's just nothing that you can do about it. I'm talking about the Chiefs. Denver has some like they have some Chiefs to them. What I mean by that is it doesn't matter how bad it might look. You just know that there's like, I mean, it's not even a switch. It's like.
It's just a gear. It's like a gear.
It's like a detonator. Where like, look, if we press this, it's over because like it's still in a playoff setting. The way Russ is playing right now, Jokic is the best player on the planet. Jamal, the way Russ is playing, I'm not gonna say like Jamal is less important, but like you can kind of handle a bad Jamal game now.
No,
if that makes sense.
That's where I was going. I was literally just going to go because I was like, they've been using Jamal a lot more as their off-ball guy because Westbrook is just so much better at. No, I don't want to say Westbrook's so much better than Jamal at playing point. My point is that Westbrook is
being an advantage creator.
Yeah, and Westbrook's so much more valuable on the ball than he is off the ball.
Yeah.
And Jamal can kind of mimic his impact as an off-ball guy because he's a good movement shooter, he's a good cutter.
Yep.
So like so they've been using Jamal as an off-ball guy with MPJ, and then Westbrook and Jokic is like the center of the offense.
Yep.
And Jamal, by the way, playing really well recently, like starting to kind of come into his own, and it's like I remember we talked about it. Jamal had a really slow start to the season, but that's like kind of a thing with him. That happens a lot.
Last 10 games, 23.8 points, 6.2 assists, shooting 47, 43, 93.
That's Jamal. That's literally championship Jamal. Like, that's the same thing. So, yeah, I think people overreacted to the Nuggets a little bit. I think I even overreacted to them a little bit because before the season I had them second in the West, and then the last time we did like a power rankings, I think I had them like fifth in the West.
Yeah. Now they can't defend, but like you get Aaron Gordon back, like
they can't defend at all.
Yeah, get Aaron Gordon back, and that's my one reservation on Denver.
There are situations like teams I picture them playing in the playoffs that like I kind of feel okay with their defense though. Like, I think Dallas would shred them. Dallas would shred them. But like, am I crazy for thinking they can defend both OKC and Memphis at least enough to where their offense pushes them over?
Memphis, yeah, I could see it. OKC, maybe it's my like delusion. I don't know.
I think it's just because they rely so much on Shea. So I'm like, if Shea, like if you know Shea's going to get his like 35 points, like you kind of just live with it.
Are you like low key throwing AG, or is that like
Shea?
Yeah, low key, or are we like going Christian Brown?
I mean, I think they'd mix it up throughout the series.
I mean, yeah.
I think Westbrook would actually get some reps on Shea too.
I agree.
But
I see where we're going with. Like, if it's a Denver-Houston series, check ball. That's like Denver in 5.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to alienate Rocket fans.
Am I crazy for thinking that Minnesota still kind of scares me if I'm Denver? Like, I just think they have their number, you know?
Because of Randall, that's a series where like Ant can eat again. I mean, it's a like non-athletic drop big. Like that's a good series for Ant. How I
feel about it. They can't really Teams that have great pick and roll, like dude, I'm gonna be so dead serious. If Denver makes the finals and they have to face Cleveland, they will get torched, bro. Like Cleveland would absolutely like it would be like the highest scoring final series ever.
I'm not gonna lie, like healthy Clippers even. That was one
of the teams I had over Denver in the West because it was like assuming Kawhi's normal.
Kawhi's normal, like all right, you might throw like AG or whatever, but we're just gonna like spam Harden Zoo pick and roll.
I do think though, in that series they would trap Harden every single time and basically force Zoo. Like Zoo, you are gonna be the playmaker. And I do wonder. I don't know if I trust Zoo enough in that situation. Like, I genuinely think they would trap every pick and roll with Harden.
Fair. That'd be fun,
tough,
though.
It's tough, though. It's tough,
Bro,
though.
the amount of the different matchups that you can get out of a Western Conference playoff bracket.
Yeah.
Or and say like right now
I'm so excited for the playoffs, bro. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to do the pod during the playoffs. Like right now your 1-8 is Thunder T-Wolves, Grizz Clippers, Rockets Lakers, Nuggets. Okay, biased Laker fan. I feel great the playoffs started right now.
I would have Lakers over Rockets. And then you have Lakers Grizzlies in the second round.
Lakers Grizzlies or Lakers Clippers.
Well, that's up to I was saying Lakers match up pretty decent with both of those teams.
Yeah, and then all right, you face Denver, Dallas, or OKC in the conference finals. Oh well.
All I'm saying is with the current landscape, it is perfectly plausible to get a first round matchup of the Spurs and the Thunder. Wemby and Chet.
If you're the NBA, you gotta want that, right?
Yeah, because that's the future. That's gonna be the
future.
Gonna be the 2020s and the early 2030s.
And watch that they don't market that series at all, and it's 7-game series on NBA TV.
I was just gonna say it's
all
on
right,
NBA
guys.
It's on NBA. Okay, so
meanwhile, we get Heat Knicks or something 7 straight times on ESPN.
Yeah. Okay, let's finish this out. We've talked about the hottest teams. Let's do a top 10 off the dome, like top 10 power rankings, but it's if they entered the playoffs right now, best chance to win a title. So it's not really based on like the regular season or like how they're playing. It's like if the playoffs started right now.
Who would be the 10 most likely teams to win it all right now?
Actually, let's do 7 because I think 10's a lot. Let's do 7.
Do 8.
8?
Yeah.
Middle ground? All right, let's do 8.
All right. 8. 1's OKC.
My one, oh man, because I think my one would be okay. I think I'm on the train now.
My one's OKC.
I'm torn because Boston. I don't think they've played a single game with their actual roster yet.
My 2's pretty comfortably Boston though.
Boston and OKC are the 1 and 2 for me. I can't decide who I want more. I think I'm gonna go with Boston because I think they have less exploitable issues than OKC. So I'm going to go Boston. I'm going to go Boston 1, OKC 2.
My 3's Cleveland.
So is mine. Yep, my 3 is Cleveland. And my 4 is Dallas.
My 4, I'm actually going to reward New York.
That's who I thought you were going to go with.
I'm going to reward New York. My 5's actually going to be Denver. And again, call it like PTSD, but my 5's Denver. Like, dog, just get them to the playoffs. And like Jokic is, yeah.
My 5 is... Oh my gosh.
Have you said Cleveland yet?
Yeah, in Cleveland 3.
Oh, okay.
It's between Denver and New York. It's between Denver and New York for 5, 6. I'm gonna go Memphis. No, I'm gonna go Denver. I'm gonna go Denver. I think they both have like a 7-man rotation, but I think it's basically just I think Jokic pushes them over the edge. I think that's what it is. So I'm gonna go 5 Denver, 6 New York.
All right. My 6 is Dallas. And for me, at least, I don't know about you, it's a cutoff like after 1, 2. I think those 4 teams, we had the same 4. They're very clearly like that.
No, we didn't have the same 4. My 4 was Dallas.
No, I'm saying like the same group of 4, like 3 through 6.
Oh,
Dallas.
After the 2. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Dallas, New York, Cleveland, and Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those are like that's the next group.
You wouldn't group Memphis in with them? I think Memphis is pretty close. They'd be my 7.
They would also probably be my 7.
I think I could group them in. I think Memphis would be grouped in with them. 8 is tough. 8 is really tough. Because there's a lot of teams you can go with. Like I'm looking at the
There's like
East.
5 teams I'm considering.
In the East, I'm looking at Orlando and Milwaukee.
Same.
In the West, I'm looking at am I crazy for just not looking at Houston? Like it feels wrong. It feels wrong because of the way they're playing, but their playoff offense to me is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that because I feel like I hate her, but I just can't get there.
So the 5 teams I'm considering for 8 are Milwaukee, Orlando, like you said. I'm considering the Lakers. I'm considering the Clippers, and I'm also like ever so slightly considering like Minnesota because if they figure it out, then like this is a top 5 defense still, and their floor is still high.
Just for a sec, how crazy it is that the last time we talked about both the Suns and the Warriors, we had them as like top 6 teams in the West, and we're calling them contenders. Talk about an overreaction from both of us. We're terrible podcasters.
Although,
I'm gonna go
devil's advocate, I still don't feel that much differently about Golden State.
fair. Yeah, fair. I'm gonna go my number 8. Can I just assume Kawhi is like good to go? Because doesn't he come back in like 2 days?
Yeah, so like for me, it was between the LA teams.
If Kawhi's there, it's the Clippers. If Kawhi's there, it's the Clippers.
It was between the LA teams.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, every time I like try to crown them,
I can't get there on Milwaukee. I think Giannis is unreal. I just can't get their depth. Their especially wing depth sucks. It's just not good.
Orlando, I just need to see them like healthy, honestly.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
And now Jalen Suggs is hurt. Like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean we've got the same 8. Yeah, so we're on the same track here. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, man.
Wait.
We appreciate. Wait, go ahead.
One last thing, because I can't go as the guy. We've talked about me slandering the Cavs, right, all offseason, and it was at expense of this team primarily, and they had not been playing well whatsoever. But this, especially beginning of the season, but this guy's starting to lock the hell back in.
Yep.
Clap it up for Tyrese freaking Halliburton. It is not getting talked about whatsoever, but his last 10 games, he's averaging 19.5 points, 9.9 assists, true shooting percentage of, I thought I just said it.
I think it's like 64.
63.5% true shooting percentage, bro. He's starting to play well again. He's
By the way,
averaging
one
1.4 turnovers.
Yeah, I was going to say 1 turnover.
And I think you had the tweet, like, bro, he's had games now, like a few games over these past couple of weeks. You're like, oh, wait, like, oh, yeah, that's how he had. The Sixers game a couple weeks back, 32-11. Has the Boston game, like 2 games ago, 31 points, takes over that game. Miami, 33-15. Like, if Halliburton is starting to round back into shape, then Indiana, they're a game and a half out of the 5 seed.
And they've won 7 of their last 10. Like, they're starting to really lock in.
Benedict Mathurin's playing really, really good ball this season. Like, are they as good as I was hyping them up to be in the preseason? No, but they could be a team that, like, definitely gets pretty, like, comfortably back into the top 6 in the East.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking about that earlier today. Like you said, I had the tweet. Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers deserve a little bit more respect after the way they were talked about to start this season. But now, that's going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys listening to episode number 19, man. We hope you hate our hot takes and tell us all about it in the comments. But like I said earlier, we really appreciate the support, man. All of the likes, all the comments, all of the subs, man. It's been awesome. It's super fun to do this unscripted form of content. But make sure to follow us on social media. Main thing is my YouTube hoop venue. I'm back to the daily upload schedule, guys. I haven't been at this level since the 2024 playoffs, which was that's half a year ago. I'm locked in, man. 2025. This is our year,
back.
man. Also, check out Sean's channels. He's got the Lakers channel. He's got the Sports Headline Show.
I got this show gave me the perfect idea for the first video to welcome back the channel. So make sure you guys tap in, like Tyler was saying.
Yep, make sure to check out Sean's channels. Make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram. My stuff is at Tyler Britton _. His is Sean _Davis, except for on Twitter, there's no S. Sean _DAVI. On Instagram, you can add a 23. Sean _Davis 23. Make sure to follow Hoop Venue on all platforms. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Once again, appreciate you guys listening to it, and we will catch you guys in episode number 20.